So today my intent is to get my global scale and time settings worked out exactly the way I want them. I think I'm going to change the orbit positioning timescale a little bit, and I'm going to begin working on a flight model in PlayerPawn. I will say, just in fiddling with some exposure settings, I was able to fix the luminance flicker on the distant emissive sources crossing over each other, so that I can use these little colored dots to replace the planets when they get down to a certain size in screen space. And the purpose of that is to keep them visible even when they're very far away, like that guy right there, working his way on his long orbit, or that guy right there. Now granted, once you get sufficiently far enough away, you won't be visible anymore, but I want it to be like, if you look at Venus, it looks like a star, except it moves differently. And I'm pretty happy with the effect here, like the fade ins and outs. So I think I've completed it. Now that the flickering is gone, for the most part. You can see it fades in once it gets maybe 10 pixels. It starts fading into the planet. And then it'll stay the planet until it shrinks down past a certain percentage of screen view proportion. Right about here. And then it goes on its merry way. So, the time change I wanted to make is going to be planet blueprint. We have so this is all atmosphere brightness with distance stuff here. And we'll organize our mess from yesterday. So basically what's going on here is it was Z-fighting with the planet, and that was part of what was causing flicker. So I created this logic to, once it passes a certain, so I have two thresholds. I wish these lined up. Oh well. My OCD will have to suffer. So I did a couple things with this. Okay, so right here you can see this 0.04 and 0.07. So this is the part when the sphere starts fading in, and this is the part when I shrink the planet so it doesn't Z-fight. And then once it gets bigger than this, it'll go through the false thing here and it resets it to our initial planet scale right here. We'll pull this back in. Get it all nice and comfy, cozy. Okay. So, a little while back, I did this. The planet rotator should be okay, so like here, this is wrong for this. Rotation speed. Birthday time. So, this is the guy that's doing orbit, all of this stuff here, and this is doing the rotation. So I don't care too much about the rotation, but what I want to do is use so I'm gonna have to compose a couple values here. So for the orbit, what's times 60 minutes in a day times 60 seconds in a day. So 24 times 60 times 60. Except it doesn't really work like that. What it would be is this multiply by 60 don't care about the day actually, but I do care about the hour of the day. Is this in 12-hour time frame, or it's probably 24? Multiply by 60. So multiply our hours and minutes. So this gives me minutes, seconds. 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 Here we go. And now we can add the seconds here and the seconds here. No. Okay, that's fine. Seconds here. Seconds here. Seconds of day. This will give us our seconds a day. Okay, so I had been doing this guy on the millisecond, so that's not exactly what I want. I want it to be however many seconds have passed in the day. I want them to always be at a specific place in their orbit based on that time. And thus, this multiplier gets this. Okay, and then this guy, rotation speed is also going to be seconds of day, because these are equivalent to x. And I'm going to be going to go get lunch very soon. I'm just trying to knock this piece out. When I come back from lunch, I'll probably deal with... Hey, what's up, man? When I come back from lunch, I'll probably deal with the universal scaler and starting the flight model. I'm just changing the way my system is initialized to be in basically a different orbital position at the start based on the second of the day that you're in. So that if you were to leave and come back, then the system would continue moving on its same pattern. Not exactly the same pattern, but well, I've only been using Unreal for like 3 weeks, man, and I've never used VOD. I've had fun with Unreal. That's the only reason I can really give you. I've been a software engineer for a while, but I've never really done game dev. I can show you what I'm working with in my project, and you can have an idea. I'm trying to build a procedural space solar system generator at the moment, and I've got my procedural planets and my procedural star. I got orbits in a couple days ago. Yesterday I was working on this effect where they turn into little luminous spheres when they're far enough away from the camera so that you can still see the planets when they're extremely far away, if I can find one that's really far away. It's still difficult to see, but you can. There's one. So there's a guy that's really far away out there, tracking his path along. And another one. Oh shit, I could have done it like this. And like this. Seconds of the hour, seconds of the minute, seconds of minutes, seconds. And then we triple add. That makes this little device much smaller. There we go. Looks good. This guy needs something similar. Well, that's 360 divided by 12. 30. Alright. So let's do this. No, wait. Divided by 24 is going to be, what, 15? Clear. I think it's a 24-hour clock. 360 divided by 24, 15, yeah. Makes sense. So, multiply 15, and that should be good enough for our rotational incrementer. Don't need you. There we go. Get everything nice and tight. Okay. I think that does it for the timescale stuff. The next part. So all of this information is gathered from the initial location of the scene. Yes, it is. The scene of the planet. And I have to figure out how to do this thing that I saw in another video where he was able to change the overall distance scale with a single scaler, and that's going to be next up on the plate. Master distance scale right here. But whatever changed the guy that I was watching did, it would change in the editor when he changed it, not just at runtime. That's what I got to figure out, because that's what I do not have working. In the meantime, I'll grab this guy. This. Good morning. Hey, look. I got rid of the flickering. Sometimes it's like that. You just go away, do something else for a little bit, come back, and you'll solve it in 2 seconds. Pretty satisfied with the look of the little glowing orbs that get replaced. So I did a couple things to get rid of the Sure. I added logic to where when it's past a certain threshold of screen size, it will shrink down everything but the glowy sphere, and that got rid of some Z-fighting, and then I changed the exposure settings, and with those two things I was able to get rid of the flickering. And I just did this little piece right here to where the orbits get initialized based on their orbit increment, based on their velocity and the second of the day. Which, what I'm hoping is like you could leave the system and come back to it, and the orbits would have updated to where they would be, or to where they should be. So what are you sliding? The player or like a thing? I haven't done too much with the animations aside from what you're seeing here. And I had a little like horror game project that I started on, and I did some like character animation for it, but mostly just applying stock animation to an existing character model that I got from, fuck, I forget, but it's like Maximo or some shit like that. I'm also going to be getting lunch pretty soon. This is just a short one. I was trying to just resolve mainly this seconds thing that I got working just now, and maybe the global distance scalar. I want to be able to have like a scalar to make it easier to work with, and then be able to increase that scalar when I actually want to deploy it as a game to have like legitimate solar system sizes. And at some point I'm going to want better orbit logic, but with this and this, I'll be able to, whatever orbit logic I'll come up with will follow the same format as this. It would just be like, the engine part of it would be different. I'm still just orbiting the origin, which isn't great because eventually I'm going to want like moons and shit. Fuck. I also have Sprint Retro a little bit later today for work. I already did the Sprint review presentation though, so let's go. I think I made it so that you can link stuff in chat a while back. I don't know for sure though. My whole approach to Twitch has been kind of like, fuck it, I don't care if people watch or not. So I haven't done a lot of work on like promotion or trying to build an audience or anything like that. I don't really care. I have a job that makes me plenty of money. I'm not worried about that. What I basically set out, there's actually a day of dev missing on this project where I built the proc planet, which is unfortunate. But after that, I set up streaming to actually show a gaming friend of mine the progress that I'd done on making the little procedural planets. And then I was like, why don't I just stream the rest of the dev of this project, and then I'll have all the videos for later if I ever want to do anything with them. And so pretty much everything else since that first day I've streamed. Oh. I wonder what the event tick rate is. I'm sure I can set it for like a given set of code to a specific increment. So I'd kind of like to set it to seconds. And that would mean that like with the way this initializer works, if I set it to seconds, then when I go out of the system and come back, the system would be in its updated state. Like the orbits would all continue. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen that like you can divide it or some shit like that. But basically, I would want to convert the event tick for the actual animation of the planet shit to be on a second basis, which is going to change all the math again. I understand that, but it won't change this math, and it'll probably only increase the like multiplier I used for the orbit increment. So like to get the I changed it so that you don't orbit by degrees anymore. You orbit by velocity, and right now it's multiplied by 10 million kilometers. 5, 6, yeah, 10 million kilometers. But it can be more than that. The multiplier can be more. And what I did was I calculated the circumference. Wait, is this wrong? Pi r squared. No, I did it. So this is the radius. This is it's squared times pi. That's your circumference. Divide your circumference by your desired orbit velocity, and that gives you your orbit degree increment. And then you can feed that orbit degree increment into your vector rotator, and have your planet basically orbit at the speed you fed into it. And the reason I do it this way, is because it's a lot harder to randomize the. All right, I'll take a look in just a second. It's a lot harder to randomize the orbit speed when it's in angles, because when it's far away, it goes fucking fast, and when it's close, like if I do 0.001, if it's really close, it's gonna go really slow, and if it's really far away, it's gonna be really fucking fast. So it's better to randomize the orbits around like a velocity range, and then like the behavior looks more natural. All right, so let's see the sliding behavior that you're talking about. Oh, I thought you were, I thought you were linking me your sliding issues.
Let me show you what it looks like.
Oh shit. Uh-huh. Yes, you're correct. So will that little box fire out of its little triangle hole every time that increment is hit? Because I don't really need the display stuff part of it. I just need to change the event tick to a second for a certain block of code. Event tick has settings, but I'm not sure what they'll do. I mean, I can see, like, this is something we can test. Timer? Let me rewind a bit. I don't think I need, like, any of this part. I just need... Ah, shit. Okay, there it goes. Where'd it go? Shit. Because after this... I haven't done anything with the like interface settings. 217. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. I'm fucking blind or something. Yeah, I'm using UTC now in mine. Wait, is this a different video? No. I thought there was a part he attached to the event. Hang on. Make UE5 event tick every 1 second. Event tick. I gotta figure out these timelines too. I think it's gonna be useful to set time. I see. Set timer by event, and you set okay, and then you can generate your intakes. That's what I needed. Let's see. My event. Add event, custom event. And I don't care. So now I can break the pin link here, plug this in, and everything should be running on a 1 second time scale as soon as I do hung the wait in seconds. 1 second. No. 10 seconds. So if I'm right, this will drastically slow down the orbit of the planets. But that's fine because I can just speed them up. Maybe. Or just... What the? Or it just makes the planets completely disappear. Yeah, they could do that too. Alas. So, it could either be working, or it could also have like it could be working and it just like fucked up all the rest of my math in here so bad because it's such a different time frame, or it might just not be working. Either one of those is possible. Um, 1,000, 2,000. I mean, it seems like it's working. Oh, I'm a fool. This is the wrong place. I need this because that's the event begin. It's begin play. I was in the wrong spot. Yes, it drastically slowed them down. Alright. So now, let's see if it's even possible for them to move at all with that plugged in like that. And to do that, I'm just gonna go like nuts. We'll go up 2 orders of magnitude. Oh, that's gonna be this guy. I can tell it's... I actually can't tell at all. Okay. I think it's safe to say that is not working. Damn. Zero, zero. True to keep executing delegate every time seconds. Does it have to go like... I don't know what I don't know if I need to do anything with this here. Does this turn it back on? Yes. So now it's just getting the multiple, right? So the other way that I could think of this, I could figure out how many event ticks run per second and change the way the initializer works. Maybe. Okay, so let me kind of explain what I'm trying to do. So if I go to this guy right here, when it gets initialized, I calculate how many seconds have elapsed in the current day, and then I multiply that with the orbit degree increment, which is basically like how many degrees does it increment per, in this case, tick. This is every second. I don't know what rate ticks are at, probably like every 10th of a second or something like that. So if I can get this to be based on seconds rather than whatever it is based on, then it would match up in scale with this for my initializer for the daytime. And that means that you could fly away from the scene and then come back to the scene later that day, and then planets would have orbited the correct amount even if you weren't there, even if the scene hasn't been spawned. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to make happen here. I don't. It's like super not important. I just got down a rabbit hole thinking about it, because it's like not a big deal. So the other option would be I could change this to be whatever the ticks are, but I have to know. Actually, you know what? That's easy. It's just another math function. So event event tick UE5, how many event ticks per second? Go. Ticks per second. Tick for every frame. Delta time. Tick for every frame, so at 60 FPS you have 60 ticks per second, but frames per second can vary. So tick events have a float called delta time, which tells you how many seconds have passed since the last tick. Multiplying delta time by a velocity. So I need an average, though. I need like an average. Because it doesn't have to be dead on. But as long as the two scales are in the same ballpark, it'll feel like it persisted. How many average
delta time. Speed times delta time. See, okay. So what if I just do this? 10. 10. I mean, actually, if we're talking about 60 frames per second, like... And I'm in seconds. So it should be 60 if I was running at 60 frames per second. But let's say 30. And then that should make this equivalent, roughly, to the tick, so that it would, it's not equivalent, but it's like, if you left and came back, and these were moving like reasonable speeds, not ridiculous speeds, it would feel like it makes sense. Okay. Come out here. Just go nuts. That guy's fading back in. Okay. Okay, I got one of them. There we go. That's a little bit more reasonable. Alright, so this guy will be fading into his little green dot soon. Or, not that guy. He's blue. He's green. Comes back in. Looks good. He's moving super fast. The one behind him's not moving that fast. I mean, it probably is moving fast, actually. It's fucking far away. That one's probably more than 10 million kilometers away or something like that. Alright, I think this is a good stopping point. I need to go get some lunch. I'm going to be back on later today after I finish all my work meetings. And I'm going to figure out the distance scaler later.